Welcome to the May the 6th Bladen County Board of Commissioners meeting. Reverend Jason Lee from Dublin First Baptist will lead us in prayer, and Ms. Taylor Wheeler will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, both of you come up, please.
Let's bow. Ask the Lord's blessings on this meeting, proceedings, even celebration tonight. All right. Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for this day, for this life you've given us. Lord, we ask for wisdom tonight. You promised in your word in the book of James that if we ask you for it, you give to all men without respect to persons. And so we do that. We ask for wisdom in governing this county, Lord. In doing so, we declare our dependence on you. Lord, give wisdom to each one of the commissioners. Lord, we're thankful for those who have served our community as we celebrate them tonight as well. We ask all these things in the name of Jesus, our Savior. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a little token for you. On behalf of the Bladen County Board of Commissioners, it's our pen, and it says, "In God we trust." We want to give you that, and thank you for coming tonight. That's what we're saying. It says, "In God we trust." Entertain a motion to approve the consent items.
Mr. Chairman, I got a couple of questions on some of them, but not that I disagree with anything, but I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Is this the time to do it, or?
Would you like to move them down into
No,
the agenda
no,
for
I
discussion?
just want to ask.
Well, this is not a discussion item. You have to move them down into a discussion
Okay, item 2H,
to the H.
2I, 2M, and the one dealing with the Health and Human Services. Which one is that? I got item 2. Let's see, I'll tell you in a second.
I don't see one doing with that.
That thing changed now, she changed some of it on
Let's see. The one where we have to get insurance for Columbus County.
That's on the agenda already. Ms. Duncan's gonna talk about that.
Okay, I can wait. Okay, let's those 3 items then.
Okay, you make that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bullock made a motion to move item H, I, and M, right?
H, I, and we'll look at it again. Yes, sir. 2M.
So.
Just got a question.
So I'm gonna move them with board approval, so if we vote, under item 4A, B, C. That's matters of interest to commission, okay? So I got a motion and a second by who?
Second.
Who made the motion?
I second.
Mr. Cogdell made the motion and second. Any discussion? We're gonna move those 3 items, H, I, and M, to 4A, B, C. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Now I entertain a motion to approve the consent items listed.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gooden, second by Mr. Bullock. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, the first special recognition we're gonna do is Nurses Week. So all the nurses and people associated with nurses come forward, please. And the commissioners will go up front. Commissioner, you said you want to.
Yesterday. Heather knows that, I apologize, y'all.
Mr. Cogdell's getting old, and you apologize for not being able to get up, get out.
Stand, I'm sorry.
I need to come up here. Want to know?
And you.
Whereas registered nurses in the United States constitute our nation's largest healthcare profession, whereas the depth and breadth of the registered nursing profession meets the difference in emerging healthcare needs of the American population in a wide range of settings, and whereas a renewed emphasis on primary and preventive healthcare will require better utilization of all our nation's registered nurses' resources, and whereas professional nurses has been demonstrated to be an indispensable component of the safety and quality of care of patients, whereas the demand for registered nurses' service will be greater than ever because of the aging American population and the continued expansion of life-sustaining technology and the explosive growth of healthcare services, whereas more qualified registered nurses will be needed in the future to meet the increasingly complex needs of healthcare consumers in the community. Whereas cost-effective, safe, and high-quality healthcare services provided by the registered nurses will be an increasingly important component of the United States healthcare delivery system in the future. And whereas the American Nurses Association has declared the week of May 6th through 12th as National Nurse Week with the theme 4 million reasons to celebrate. And a nod to nurses, the sheer numbers and open invitation to thank a nurse for enriching our lives and the world we live in. Therefore, that we, Bladen County Commissioners, ask that all residents of Bladen County join in us in honoring the registered nurses who care for all of us, and be it further resolved that the residents of Bladen County celebrate registered nurses accomplished in efforts to improve our healthcare system and show our appreciation for the nation's registered nurses, not during this week, but every opportunity throughout the year. And I hadn't read this today, but I got an email today where it's 4 million strong registered nurses. So thank you, ladies, for what you do for the citizens of Bladen County. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Anything? Please.
Thank you.
At this time, Miss Vicki Smith and Sherry Dallas.
Years ago, Miss Dallas beckoned the doors of Bladen County DSS. She came to the agency to conquer one of the most complex budgets within the county government system. And she did that. And how did she do that? She did that with a strong work ethic, dedication, and I would say courageousness as well. She has always been very timely, very conscientious of her work. She's been very compassionate. In about 2012, a new director came on board, and that had been the hardest detail of her job, I do believe, to lead and guide her, to help her understand the budget. Putting all jokes aside, Sherry, I appreciate all that you've done for the agency and on behalf of the county. I appreciate all the 16 years hard dedication work that you gave to the agency. Family, come on. This is the reason that she's retiring. She has made the decision. All the beautiful babies and one on the way.
So in grateful appreciation to Sherry Dallas for dedicated service to the people of Bladen County as administrative officer presented by the Bladen County Board of Commissioners, given the 6th day of May. Years of service, February 2003 to 2019. And thank you on behalf of Bladen County citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you for this recognition, and, I want to thank Bladen County for giving me the opportunity, to work for them, and, I took very much pride in what I've learned. It's been a very difficult job, but anybody can learn it, and it just takes time. And even the state says it takes 3 years to learn. And it did. And, I will miss Vicki and my coworkers, but, I'm looking forward to spending more quality time with my family. Thank you.
Mr. Bradley Kinlaw and Greg Martin.
Bradley has served as the emergency services director for Bladen County for almost 10 years now, and he has just done an outstanding job. He has established strong relationships here locally in the county with the fire service and those in the public safety arena. He has also established strong relationships throughout the state and even nationally. He has taken full advantage of opportunities for professional development and learning experiences such as the Table Rock Fire in the mountains a couple of years ago. He also served in Hawaii this past summer on the volcano there, and he has certainly learned a great deal. It's certainly bittersweet for me to be here to wish him well in the future, because I hate to see him go personally, but I certainly thank him for his service and his dedication. He has provided such strong leadership during disasters in our county, such as Hurricanes Matthew and Florence, and he just really stepped up to the plate and served our county well. But we're going to hate to see him go. I certainly wish him the best, and Bradley, just thank you so much for your years of service. Thank you. Thank you.
And grateful appreciation to G. Bradley Kinlaw for dedicated services to people of Bladen County. As Emergency Service Director, presented by the Bladen County Board of Commissioners, given the 6th day of May, 2019, years of service, December 13, 2009 to May 17, 2019. Bradley, thank you for your dedication. Thank you.
Once I knew Miss Sherry was leaving, I knew I couldn't stay any longer. I couldn't be here without her. But I do thank you for the opportunity of taking a risk on such a young guy. And it's been a pleasure. And I do hate to go. I was just telling Jay earlier, it's just sad, but I'm excited about what's coming. And I'm here for, if I can do anything for any of you. Because I hold a lot up here that I don't know how to get out on paper. Thank you. I don't deserve any of this, but I appreciate it.
Just don't change your number.
I won't.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
At this time, we'll do item 4A, which is, well, any commissioner got anything?
I do, I have one. I'd just like to thank the board and the citizens of Bladen County for their calls, their cards, texts, prayers during the illness of my brother and for him passing. I thank you, and Mr. Martin, it was a pleasure, and thank you for showing up for the eulogy or the homecoming service. But it did touch my heart for those who did the special things such as calls and text. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? The first item, Mr. Bullock, is 2018 Saco Essential Single Family Rehabilitation Loan Pool Assistance Policy. You have
The
a
only,
question?
only question I had on that one was, you know, it says in here, if the loan is, it goes into default, who owns the property, the state, county, or the federal government? That's the only question I have on that one, if it goes into default.
The county would have a deed of trust.
But I mean, I'm not looking at it right now.
The county would have a deed of trust.
So, okay, so it'll be the county.
Well,
I'm not positive.
yeah, and Commissioner, that's a great question, it's duly noted, but I would want to look at it before I give you an answer off the hip
Okay.
here.
All right,
But that would be my first instinct right now, with us having a deed of trust, it would be the county.
Okay,
But I can get back with you tomorrow.
all right, that'll be fine, you can get back with me, fine. But that's the only question I had on that, Mr. Chairman.
They want to approve that now.
The other one,
I is 2018 cycle, single family rehabilitation, loan pool, procurement and disbursement policy.
that's the one if it's loan, it's dealing with a loan, and if there's a default on that, yeah, Mr. Johnson said that he thought it would go to the county, but he would look it up and get back with it on that.
Bradley, hate to do this, these two yours?
No, sir.
These two are.
These are through Adrian Lowry.
Greg Elkins?
And well, Adrian Lowry from the Council of Governments is, the county contracts, as you may recall, with the Council of Governments, and he's the point person on it. But, Mr. Chairman, most of these programs, and I don't have it right in front of me, but, they're forgivable over time. And, you know, rather than paying actual hard dollar payments, over time, those, loans are forgiven.
Yeah,
And I think that's the case.
It averages about 7 or 8 years.
Right.
Can I ask how they apply for them? Or
There's
when
an
you start?
there's an application process that
That's what
announced,
usually.
Application right here.
Yeah, but are they approved through the county commission or through the county?
through the county commission, through the county.
Yeah, they come here. and
It is by
approve it.
county.
The
Yes.
COG takes the applications and he brings it back to us for approval.
Okay.
They take 7 applications, 1 for 5 they really look at, and then 2 of for alternates,
Okay,
That's right.
so 7 total.
right.
The other ones, Mr. Chairman, is 2M, I think it was. It talks about the use of inmates for cleanup services in the county. I was wondering why Bladenburg, East Acadia, and Tar Heel was not included.
They chose not to participate.
That's the only question?
Yeah, they chose not to participate.
Okay. And the other one I can wait for Mr. Duncan.
What criteria do you have to use to?
All you gotta do is apply for it and they'll bring them here and you pay so much a day for it.
That's for
The county utilizes them, White Lake utilizes them, and Elizabethtown uses them.
Inmate service.
No one else utilizes them.
Well, this is not the one for our cleanup on
No,
this.
sir, this is the
state
Taylor Correctional, yes, sir.
Department of
State.
Correction.
Yes.
And then the county, not the county, the state park will be using also according to this.
Right.
Yeah. I just wondering why Bladenburg, East Acadia, and Tar Heel was not in there, but you
They chose
answered.
not to.
All right,
You
that's it.
want to move to approve that?
It's available if they want
It was this White Lake, Littleton, and
Clark County,
In the county, Clarkson in the county.
Clark in the county.
Clark this morning.
So, are we gonna table H and I or what?
let's take, I make a motion to approve items.
H, I, and M?
Yeah,
Okay, second by Mr. Briggs, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Okay, individual delegations wishing to address the commission. Do you have anybody, Ms. Marie?
Mr. Horace Munn has signed
Ms.
it.
Horace Munn.
Good afternoon. I am reluctantly here again on a matter that's bothering the citizens of Arcadia and I help.
This with each vote, take one and pass it. You want this one to go? All of these ones?
I got it. No, I didn't get it.
Back your way.
Congratulations.
That was like 3 or 4 of them.
One Ray got 3 or 4.
I didn't get the other one.
Hey, one Ray.
Mr. Vaughn, how many
I have
different
one.
packs is it? 4 different packs?
Yeah, somebody do that.
Come on, let's go.
30 more of these?
Which one comes?
Share.
4 different ones.
How many of them got? Down, you got the same name already?
Should be 5.
5.
1, 2, and pass. Yeah. 5 sheets, 5 different documents.
It's 5 different documents. Y'all good down there?
I only have one,
Okay, they're right here. That's it.
and they only have 1 or 2. So there's one.
Here. Take one off. Pass them on, just put them on.
And then this one.
I got 2.
Which one do you want to do? This one, I don't have. You.
5.
Okay.
Okay. Pass it.
Okay, Ms. Harp, you ready to go ahead, please?
She need that one. Triple need that one.
Mr. Chairman, I was here roughly 2 months ago with the issue dealing with the campus in East Arcadia. Since that time, I requested documents from Bladen Community College under the Freedom of Information Act. And I received most of the documents, some I did not receive, I'm still waiting. But what I wanted to show to you was that this document there says project, and on the front says $93,984.
I'll call that.
Pass it on. Here. Here.
Hey, give that one, Geneva, we got one now.
I got something coming.
Okay, let's see, Geneva.
Just one, you. Call me stateside. That's all, you got one?
I don't know.
Go ahead, I'm looking at it. I got it right here, go ahead. Okay, Mr. Harp.
It says owner, architect, contractor, field, other.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, we got that.
Okay. I think the document is dated 2004, September 30, 2004. If you turn to the document, the contractual agreement, work was done on the campus in 2004 between the owner, not East Arcadia town, but the owner, Bladen Community College. See that? So all this work was done there was done by the owner of the college, Bladen Community College, not the town of East Arcadia. We were not involved, but consulted anything about the work being done on campus. We've also reached out to Dr. Page, because he was there. All of a sudden now, he doesn't remember being president of college. And the reason I'm bringing these documents is because this is my last ditch effort for the college, the county, and East Arcadia operating good faith. College is not a Fortune 500 company where they can put a roof on a small town. Now, I went and walked through the building, and the ceiling tiles are damaged, the roof is leaking, the walls are damaged. It's all been repaired. The roof has been repaired, the ceiling tiles have been replaced, the floors have been cleaned, everything's been done, inside and outside work. The only thing left is the siding. It's sad for the town of East Arcadia and the college to fall out over $15,000 for siding, and the building they used for 20 years, 22 years. All we're asking for the college and the county, because funding comes to the county, to do what's right by East Arcadia. That's all we're asking. I can go back to the history of East Arcadia in like 30 years. The county has never spent a dime in East Arcadia. Yet we found a lot of money spent in Bladenburg, Dublin, with Clinton. The county has not been spending money in East Arcadia.
We fund a community college, and that community college money, some of that's been spent in East Arcadia.
Only the college.
Well, we fund the college.
But yet, you fund the Bladen County in labor. Are we asking for $15,000 to repair a building that was utilized by the college?
Well, I got a question for you, Mr. Munn. Why, when y'all signed the last contract, you didn't require BCC to be responsible for the building?
Because the agreement was that they would do repairs, they put in the budget, that's why.
The last contract does not hold Bladen
It was-
Community College accountable for outside repairs of that building.
And the agreement prior to signing the contract, under gentlemanship, they said they're gonna repair it. So in good faith, we signed it. We had no reason to think the college was trying to put a ruse on it. That's why we signed it. You wouldn't expect the college to play a game on a small town.
Well, if I'd had a
So-
contract for 20-some years that required it, I wouldn't have done a contract, I wouldn't have done the new contract without it in there.
Sir, we're not dealing with a business, outside business, a private business. We're doing taxpayers' money. And we're asking the college and the county in good faith to do it like a company like this. It's only fair. Right now, there's a class going on down in East Arcadia right now. The college didn't come to me and ask for a place for that instructor. The student, the instructor did. Right now, the class is going on at the fire department. For the college. No cost. We're trying and willing to work together. We're willing to let the college use the building on, and we own the building and take care of it in the future. But they need to leave in good faith. That's all we're asking. Let's operate in good faith. We all citizens of Bladen County, all taxpayers. That's all we ask.
Anyone else got anything?
I do. Have you gone back to the president of the college and the board of trustees of BCC?
We sent a letter, they asked us to send a proposal. We sent a proposal, they have not responded.
Anyone else?
One question is, when the build, I've been down there in the past and I've seen the building. And I looked at the damages that was on the building a year or so ago. And back during the storm, I was down there looking at the facility. I thought when Dr. Finn came to us back here a couple of years ago, he spoke about the damage to that building and that it needed to be repaired there. But it wasn't on one of his need-to items at that particular time. He said we would put that off and get to it and get an estimate and find out what needed to be done to that building to correct the problem down there. He stayed right here in that meeting and talked to us about fixing the building in the community college. That's the reason I was thinking that the contractor agreement was that they maintain that facility just like they do all other parts of the college campus. And I was thinking when they said it's a Bladen community campus in East Decatur, I thought they was talking about they ran the campus down there. I didn't know who had the ownership of it, wasn't concerned with it. But I'm just trying to figure out if it was always been a budget item, the county has been paying for HBC, putting money into it, why don't we take, and why has the county college taken responsibility to fix the facility? But when I spoke with the new director, she said she would maybe in the future use the building again, you know, but if you don't do something to it, the thing will fall apart. So it looks real rough down there.
Let me ask you this, at the point where we signed the new contract, it was already a budget item to be repaired. So who would think that the college turn around and say, okay, we got it in the budget. Now, you signed the contract, guess what? We just put a ruse on you, you fix it now. A college doesn't operate that way. That's wrong.
The college sends us a capital need list and they prioritize it.
It's in the budget.
No, it's not.
It was in their budget.
It was in their prioritized list at one time. And it was at the bottom of the list and it never got funded.
Well, my question is why? Why not?
The Board of Commissioners chose not to fund that.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You can go to minutes.
Dr. Finn said last year he was going to put it back and have the board of trustees to send it back to the commissioner this year, at the end of this year, 2019. So I think it goes back to the president of the community college, the board of trustees of Bladen Community College, to do what's right
I can assure you this is my last time coming here. If the county and college feel they're doing what's right, so be it. We'll fix it. But it's not right, it's not fair. I mean, my God, have a conscience.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Moore, you're saying that the interior was repaired, but not the exterior?
They repaired the interior building and the exterior roof. They repaired that.
But the actual walls,
The walls, that's when they left. They painted the front of the building. They painted it too. Painted the building, repaired the roof, and left the siding.
okay.
Repairs are done based upon the lease agreement, the last lease signed.
So basically you're saying that the college put a ruse on the county started here.
I'm just
and say
saying-
something. That's
I'm
not
just
right,
saying the
though,
college has abided by the lease agreement.
So you saying the college wanna come back and use the building, so basically East Arcadia, you suckers, we suck at you, now wanna come back and use the
Did
building?
the county give you the building, the East Arcadia? The county paid and gave the building to East Arcadia, correct?
The college, you lost the building for 20 years, right? According to this right
The county
here,
paid for the building and gave it to,
the town owned the land, that's correct.
correct. And then there's a lease, and the last lease, my understanding as a trustee, and now I'm looking at it from a commissioner standpoint, that the college feels that they have honored the lease agreement from a legal matter.
That's what you feel, but we were told that the college would put in the budget to repair the outside siding. So we, in good faith, signed the lease. Now the college said, oh, everything prior to, oh, it's yours now. That's not right,
See, I can't answer that.
but it's not right. But if you feel, if this board feels that's right, and the college feels that's right, I won't be coming back. We'll fix it.
Mr. Moore, have you talked to Dr. Lee?
I have.
So, is she positive about it, or what's her response?
Well, Dr. Lee is in a bad.
Dr. Lee-
position.
Dr.
Dr.
Lee
Lee is
is-
the president of the college.
Dr. Lee is here.
Yeah.
No one
Dr.
needs to
Lee
speak
is the
for her.
president of the college, and it's out of her hand. It's the board.
Okay.
The board is making the decision. And there are underlying reasons why this is going on, and I don't want to discuss it. It's not important. I just want fairness. But this county is already looking terrible, statewide, nationwide, all this mess going on. Now, here we go right now, mistreating each other. It's wrong. I won't be coming again. The next time, hey, we'll fix it ourselves. If that's the way you feel, fine. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else, Mr. Lee? Item A is North Carolina Medical Examiner Office Representative, Ms. Chris Ford, BS, DAD, MDI, Staff Development and Training Coordinator. Woo. Your turn, man. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Do you want to just briefly tell us, what's going on with the medical examiner's office and the direction they're going in?
Sure. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has appointed, well, officially 4 medical examiners here in Bladen County.
Does that mic work?
not working.
Robin, does that mic work up here?
No, sir.
I'll try to speak up, sorry. So the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has appointed 4 medical examiners for Bladen County. At the same time, you have an elected coroner for Bladen County. Bladen County is one of 3 counties left in the state that runs under a coroner system. And so, with that being said, we kind of intersect with each other. And the medical examiner system is a statewide system that has oversight by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner in Raleigh. Our medical examiners have been trained to conduct death investigations. They are required to complete a death certificate. They're required to complete a report of investigation, and that finalizes the case. And so therefore they're charged with death investigations on violent accidents, undetermined types of cases. So we deal with anything that's not natural. So those are the types of cases that we investigate.
Mr. Cardell?
Are the medical exams, is that confidential, or can you, who are you?
No, Mr. Stephen Hester, he's in the room tonight, sitting in the back. And then we have Jeremy Richardson and Chuck Maynard and Ingle Green. Ingle has not worked in the county, she was just put on the list as backup, when we first started appointing MEs, in case we didn't have enough.
How were they selected?
They apply through the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, and we vet the process. They have to be a doctor, a nurse, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, or a paramedic. And so once they fit those qualifications, they have a discussion with me as a training coordinator. We kind of vet them, and they're appointed by the Chief Medical Examiner, which is now an interim Dr. Michelle Aurelius.
One last question, when a medical examiner go out, like to investigate a death,
Yes.
and we have a coroner now, the coroner is doing now,
Mhm.
and who has to legally give that qualification, the cause of death, like they come to the house and determine who's dead? Would one of those medical examiners come, with a conflict with the coroner coming in with different opinions, or what happened? How do you do that? That's what I'm saying, if you had the two of them, see.
Right. The medical examiner is the only one that's allowed to complete a death certificate, so it's our responsibility for the cause and manner of death. The coroner is not allowed to complete a death certificate, so it is relied upon the medical examiner for that duty.
So have we been doing that wrong all this previous years, having the coroner to do this, and been signed?
Hubert was both. Mr. Kellogg was both.
He was a medical examiner
And the coroner.
and a coroner. So when we ran the application and the election process, that person had to meet certain criteria to even run for that office? Or anybody could run for it? That's
Yeah,
what I'm
anyone
asking.
can run for a coroner's office.
So what is the coroner defined as?
I don't have authority to make that, I really don't know, that's not my,
I'm just trying to
that's
ask,
under
what
my
do they do?
jurisdiction. Right, I'm not sure, sir.
Any other questions? Doc?
I do, I have a question on the cost.
Mhm.
What's the cost, will it vary from what we have now? Or how much does it cost us?
Okay. The state is responsible for, once the medical examiner completes the investigation, signs the death certificate, and the case is finalized, we pay them $200 per investigation. But what you need to understand is that 80% of that fee actually comes from the county. Okay, so, and that all depends on where someone resides and where they died. So it's kind of a complicated process in how we make that determination. If you'd like further explanation, I can try to do that. So basically, if someone resides and their residence is in Bladen County and they die here in Bladen County, the county is responsible for paying the medical examiner $200.
You're the expert from the state, right? Giving us expert opinion.
I'm the statewide medical examiner trainer, so I hope to know the majority of our statutes, so yes.
Is there a need for a coroner? That's what I'm
I'm sorry?
asking. Is there a need for a coroner?
That is up to the county. I know that we have the responsibility to investigate natural deaths, and so that's what we are charged to do. In 97 counties across the state, they don't have a coroner, and they function just well without it.
I have a
Ms. Trivia?
question. Do you notify the families that their loved ones have passed, that are deceased? Is that part of the job description of the medical examiner?
Yeah, we do a parallel investigation with law enforcement, and so law enforcement is usually the ones responsible for making the notification of death. But we do have a responsibility to provide the family with any information, to explain them the medical examiner system, what it means to be, why their family is being investigated, if there needs to be an autopsy done in Raleigh, we explain that process to them, let them know where their loved one is going, when they'll be back. So we are charged with that.
One last question. This is the last one. The medical examiner piece of it, now they sign. I've had some personal dealing with a medical examiner. And when I spoke to one from Raleigh, that division in Raleigh, they said that they were so backlogged with autopsies and getting those things done, that they were trying to put a piece in place to eliminate some of that because it was too many coming in. Is this a process of eliminating autopsies from happening or not?
No, sir, we're actually statutorily required to autopsy certain cases. So, obviously those are homicides, suspected drug overdoses, which is why we have such an influx of cases. We clearly are in an epidemic, but we have to provide autopsy services for those cases. We can't pick and choose what we're going to do. So we do our best we're running on grants right now through the NIJ, the CDC, to provide more services and staff to our office in Raleigh. But we would never not do an autopsy because we don't have the staff to do it. We will do it.
I know they just raised the price and just raised the salary for the guys doing it and all this kind of stuff with legislature and trying to get money. I was trying to figure out what this way of cutting back on that particular process.
No, actually, unfortunately, the autopsy fees for an autopsy, because you're in the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner Region, so all the autopsies that are conducted for your county, you're paying a certain fee, and we pay all our other regional centers across the state an additional $1,200 to add to that fee because it's just not enough. We don't make any money whatsoever. As a matter of fact, part of our issue is that we don't have the budget to provide investigative services like hiring death investigators, hiring help for myself, as I'm responsible for 373 medical examiners across the state. So we need more trainers, we need more investigators, and until the legislation makes a decision to make us a priority with the epidemic that we're in, unfortunately, this is where we're at.
Any other questions? Ms. Trish, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip back
All
home.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Item B is consider adopting resolution requesting General Assembly to abolish the coroner position in Bladen County and to transition Bladen County to the medical examiner system.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Cogdell, second by Mr. Good. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Bladen Community College, Dr. Lee.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
You can, when the time comes, you can
Okay.
sign up.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of the County Commissioners, and Mr. County Manager. I bring you greetings from the Board of Trustees at Bladen Community College. I appreciate the opportunity to bring to you our proposal for the fiscal budget for fiscal year 2019-2020. Let me begin by saying thank you for the support that you and your predecessors have generously provided to Bladen Community College. As a result of your support, you have enabled Bladen Community College to be a leader in workforce development, a highly regarded and successful institution in university transfer, a community resource for lifelong learning, and I think most important to me, is a home for those who seek a better standard of living for themselves and their family. And all of this would not be possible without your strong and abiding support. So on behalf of the students at Bladen Community College, again, I want to say thank you. Let me share with you that the state of the college is good, and hopefully by now you've received your invitation to our commencement exercises, which are scheduled for next week. It'll be in the auditorium. And if you did receive an invitation, you're aware that we have added an additional ceremony so that we can better accommodate our graduates and our guests. So this celebratory event brings to a close another successful academic year for our students. And with that in mind, I want to share a few accomplishments with you that are, I think, pertinent to you. So you need to know our partnership with the public school system is strong and growing, and I am sure that Dr. Taylor will echo that when he has an opportunity to speak with you. The Bladen Community College Early College opened this year with 50 students. We did have 3 that did not stay, 1 that moved out of the area, and the 2 went back to the traditional high school. However, the applications for next year are strong, and we're expecting over 100 students. Also, our Career and College Pathways, our CCP program, continues to grow as we offer college classes to our high school students. This year, we've been advocates for a location to conduct public safety driver training and truck driver training, as there's clearly a demand and a need in our area for both. The college responded to the hurricane disaster by opening our doors to responders. We've also provided 74 emergency grants to students totaling nearly $75,000. We've started a food pantry to address ongoing food insecurity and we're continuing to assess and respond to the needs of our students that have been impacted by the storm. We talked about the opioid crisis. We've been an active partner in your efforts on the opioid task force. This year we have offered 6 community CPR classes at no cost, and those are offered at various fire departments and locations in the county. We have taught compression-only CPR at 4 events, also at no cost. And at the Southeastern Carolina Crossroads, we implemented high school and career exploration classes with 37 men enrolled, and that resulted in 20 National Career Ready certifications. So these NCRCs, they can take anywhere as an effort to get jobs, and one of the young men also completed his high school credentials. This year, we've created a mechatronics training program with Smithfield Foods Tar Heel. In that program, we had 16 Smithfield employees take the class in the fall, and it was up to 30 this spring. This also has awarded an opportunity for apprenticeships at $1,000 per employee, in essence saving Smithfield $30,000 in their training. The program is not limited to their employees, and currently we have 9 community members taking the class as well. Once they finish those classes, they are going to be eligible to go to our Associate of Applied Science Mechatronics degree and get a 2-year degree if they're so inclined. And finally, we're communicating with Chemours in response to their hope to have better trained employees at their entry-level positions, and we hope to give you an update on that next year when we're talking about our budget. Successful college outcomes like this are the result of your investment in our people and our facilities. And you need to know the Board of Trustees and I work very hard to be good stewards of the public's funds, taking our fiduciary responsibility and the public's trust very seriously. This spring, the board, the staff, and I worked to craft a budget request that reflected the fiscal needs of the college, both in general expenses, operations, and capital facilities. The operating budget, and you have a copy, is an 8% increase over last year. We have focused on efficiencies and reevaluated processes so that we could decrease some areas, and you should see that on your list, even though we are having to increase others. The capital budget that I bring before you this afternoon reflects an increase over last year as well. This year marks the last year of your 3-year commitment towards restroom renovations for ADA compliance. We also requested $400,000 to renovate the spaces that are going to be available after we open our new buildings. Our faculty and staff have worked together to identify the best use of these spaces with minimal cost while prioritizing regulatory requirements such as ADA, our student needs, and safety. The operating budget considers significant items such as the cost of operating the 2 new buildings. It's 30,000 additional square feet to our campus, and these will come online this fall. There's also a 1.5% salary increase for our locally paid employees, which is commensurate with the anticipated 1.5% for our state employees. The East Arcadia Center lease expires at the end of this fiscal year, and the expenses to operate the center have been reduced from this proposed budget as an effort to offset the increased requests in plant operating and maintenance budgets. The workforce development and STEM buildings are on schedule to be completed this fall and allow the college to begin scheduling classes early in October. We cannot wait to have our ribbon cutting, and we look forward to all of you to be in attendance there. We will be sending you a save the date as soon as we have that together. Do know that we've tried to keep our operating costs as low as practical. We are cognizant that your resources are limited. We also value, as you do, those employees who give of themselves and their talents each day, and we want to compensate them equitably with our state-funded employees. I would like to personally thank the county manager and our county finance officer for their recent work with Jay and myself on our budget request. We appreciate the positive relationship that we have with the county. We are committed to researching and discovering innovative approaches to address the ongoing deferred maintenance, repair, and renovation needs that we have. So it's my job on behalf of the Board of Trustees to bring before you the fiscal needs of the college, but I respect the fact that you have an equally and perhaps more imposing responsibility to evaluate not only our requests, but all of the requests that come before you. So Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I want to leave time for your questions about our budget. I also, we're open to any questions that you may have. And I've asked Jay Stanley to come up. I think you know him better than you know me, because as you know, he can answer any question that you might have and can provide additional information to you. Any questions?
The one, at this time, do the community colleges have any satellite, any satellite campuses, or no, there are no more satellite campuses, is that?
So let me answer your question in that we've never had satellite campuses. So to have a campus would be to have a replica of Bladen Community College in Dublin all over the county. So a campus has to have a library and a lot of other things. So we did have centers, and we had the East Arcadia Center, of course, and that is the last center that we have.
That's all we have.
Yes, sir.
Now, the question I'm asking, we've been talking, and there's been a discussion about that development of the center that Bradley runs out there. And they was talking about the credits that would come to the university, the college. Would that be considered a center for the, if you had guys learning how to operate vehicles, and saying that credit would come to them, and you would generate funding from those credits?
So a lot of the details of that plan have not been ironed out. At this time, we would not be responsible. My understanding of the plan is the county would be responsible for that, and we would just use space as a part of that center.
So
Is that
you
your
would-
understanding?
So you wouldn't have any financial obligations to do anything to maintain, to do anything of that was still at this time?
Not at this time. For
You
the
don't-
Public Safety and Training Center, for the driving
Y'all
training.
don't foresee having any input that would be tied directly to the state facility like you receive state funding out there?
We would receive funds for the classes that we would offer, but we would not receive funds for anything else.
Anything, so that would be a project, would be just you doing the community college, you wouldn't reimburse us anything back?
That would be up to the agreement that we would sign with you to use the space.
Okay, okay, I was wondering how that would be handled, because I heard talking so much about what it would do with that piece of it.
Dr. Lee, FT money, there's only certain things you can spend FT money on. And that's the money that the college would get, would be FTE money.
Okay, so that, the only reason I was asking,
I don't know that they could do that.
okay, that's why I was asking, would that generate revenue to support that thing, would it be a center or
So it
something?
would be self-supporting.
Yeah.
Not likely. To do classes for the type of, if we're doing public safety